Plastic drinking straws have become a household item because they are cheap and extremely convenient to use. In Australia alone, consumers use about 10 million straws a day, and the ramifications of this excessive dependence is reflected in our environment and our oceans. We will firstly take an in-depth look at the supply chain itself and later consider how these supply chains must adapt to its environmental challenges to survive in a consumer environment that is ever-changing. Firstly, we must ask, what actually is a supply chain and why is it so crucial? A supply chain is the network between a company and its suppliers to produce a specific product to a final buyer. Without the coordination of an effective supply chain, errors will increase and quality will decrease. So let's take a look at the physical activities that occur throughout the plastic straw supply chain. There are four main stages to go through before it reaches the end user.
The first stage is the acquisition of raw materials, which are the inputs used to produce the product. From this point, we move to stage 2, manufacturing. This process includes compounding, where the raw materials will be melted and blended together before undergoing the extrusion process to form its required tubular shape. The manufacturing stage also includes other operations as well as packaging to get the physical product to its final stage before distribution. From then onwards, the product will be distributed through to these three channels, whereby the products will reach these retailers and ultimately the end users.
The supply chain for plastic straws operates a pull system, where the retailers will signal when they are running low and send an order through the distribution system. For plastic straws, a pull system is most efficient as it allows companies to receive consumer demand information from the source, rather than relying on market projections in such an unpredictable consumer environment. In order for each stage of the supply chain to coordinate their actions with one another and maximize profitability, it is of utmost importance that there is a consistent flow of information throughout the supply chain. This is because the supply chain is interdependent and each stage relies upon the information received from other stages. A common issue that occurs is when distorted information regarding demand variation is transmitted through the supply chain, which causes excessive inventory and misguided capacity plans. This is known as the bullwhip effect, and this diagram demonstrates how a small change in consumer demand can cause an amplified and unprecedented effect on the number of goods supplied and produced. Demand forecasting is a very important tool in the supply chain as it can use previous data to estimate future demand. Accurate forecasting can reduce the bullwhip effect by minimizing the effects caused by consumer demand fluctuations. Supply chains cannot just rely on predictions, however. Transaction processing systems are crucial to logistics as they collect and store real-time information in an online recording system. Radio Frequency Identification Device, RFID, is an impressive data collection technology that embeds physical tags on products which relay real-time information back to the company via wireless signals. Through a management information system, this data is converted into useful information for monitoring performance and making accurate planning and operation decisions. The use of communication systems are also essential so companies can relay constant information to minimize errors and improve product quality. Technologies like instant messaging and teleconferencing are now the new norm as they allow people to share information to multiple parties simultaneously. The information that plastic straw producers are now receiving is that firstly, plastic companies should minimize their environmental impact and do more in relation to recycling. Secondly, consumers are slowly moving on from plastic straws to environmentally friendly alternatives. Companies have attempted to address these environmental concerns by implementing reverse logistic measures. Reverse logistics is the process of moving goods from the product's final destination back through the supply chain to reuse the plastic components in its future production line. This is a great initiative as it helps reduce the 12.7 million tonnes of plastic waste that pollutes our oceans each year by providing an avenue to repurpose used plastic. Despite this, of the 1% of plastic straws that can actually be recycled, most of them can only be recycled once or twice, meaning that recycling only prevents its disposal in landfill for a period of time. It seems that the way of the future is investing in the production of environmentally friendly straw alternatives. As I initially mentioned, companies must adapt to this consumer shift. Now, this does not mean that the plastic straw industry will completely diminish, as that is unrealistic. However, companies need to diversify their offerings as it may be difficult in the future to solely and confidently rely on plastic straws as their main source of income. Movements like #StopSucking and legislative bans are sweeping the world and educating consumers on the effects of plastic on marine life. Many companies have begun producing metal, bamboo, and paper straws to capitalize on this shift. Overall, plastic straws companies should adapt not only for their own livelihood, but for the livelihood of our precious environment. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on our next episode.